In this video I will show you how players could easily get rid of the Australian turtle player, and the most hilarious thing that in this game the Australian turtle strategy will be beaten twice, so make sure to stick to the end, as today we are going to cancel the Australian turtle players. This is another Risk Global Domination 6-player gameplay played with fixed cards. Settings: Alliances on, balance blitz dice rolls in 60 seconds per turn. I'm the green player in this game and my opponents are 1 beginner rank player who is red, and 5 grandmaster rank players who are light and dark blues, cyan, and pink. The pink player is playing on his alternative beginner account though. I've already got 3 alliances sent my way, and I decided to accept them all. I mean, I will probably be without a continent at all, so the alliances could be very meaningful for me in case the players want to take them seriously but not just want to be randomly allied. I specially used these 2 troops in South America so the light blue player could more easily capture it, and I hope that my friendly intents will be appreciated by light blue. The 2 other my allies are dark blue, who is supposed to get Australia, and pink, who is supposed to get Africa, so if they stay as loyal allies, then I think the probability for me to end up in the top 4 situation is quite high. I think it was a mistake for the cyan player to crush my 2 troops in Australia. I mean, my new troops I've got that turn were already put to somewhere else, so I clearly wasn't going for Australia, but the dark blue's turn wasn't already passed, and with him even getting 6 troops since he was the last player, he got a perfect opportunity to go for Australia, with the cyan player getting unfavorable blitz roll crushing my 2 troops. So if I were cyan, then I would have just added my troops to Australia and used some other random army outside Australia to attack a random territory in order to get a card. The cyan player, after getting his army crushed, added some troops into Australia again, but to be honest I am not really sure if it was a great decision, as the dark blue player could have tried crushing his troops, but yeah, I mean, it would have been quite a risky blitz roll, and if not having enough troops to properly defend, he could have been invaded by someone. But after all, yeah, the cyan player currently doesn't really have anything better to do other than just build his troops in some place, so to prevent others from getting continents as long as possible, maybe it's a good idea for the cyan player to prevent dark blue from capturing Australia. As in subscriber games, if players are aggressive, then the players who get continents tend to team up on the players who didn't get any, so the game wouldn't stalemate, and that these continent players more or less guarantee for themselves to be in the top 3. In any case, the cyan player's turn is before dark blues, so even though the cyan player has fewer troops, he is supposed to trade in a set before the dark blue player, and after doing so being safe of dark blue not crushing his troops. Also, as you can see, I'm not in a better situation either. I'm just putting my troops to 1 big army basically in the same way like cyan, dark blue and pink. Well, the difference is that the pink player is quite stronger than us and additionally is supposed to get Africa soon, while 3 of us others are in a quite tough position. I was kinda looking to go for Europe, but since nobody is really moving troops out from it, it seems I won't be really able to capture it for a while. And I mean, they're doing great by not moving their troops out from it. It wouldn't be a good idea to let someone get a big continent immediately, so unless that person is your ally who you think you can trust a lot. Anyways, it seems the quest for Australia has been concluded. The dark blue player was the one who got lucky to get it at the end. In case dark blue and cyan crushed way too many of their troops, I was considering to potentially stealing Australia from them, but they were smart enough to not clear it out for someone else. The dark blue player only captured it when he was finally safe of doing so. And additionally, I wouldn't have had a great set to trade in anyways. Currently I'm at 4 cards and only have a 6 troop set, so it will probably be not very smart of me at all, but I'm going to hold the set to 5 cards to potentially get a 10 troop set. I know it's very risky and I could easily get eliminated, especially if some of the opponents are going to team up on me, but we will actually see how it goes. Pink and both of the blues are supposed to be my allies after all. But yeah, it was probably dumb of me. Thank God the pink player neither gone for me nor for red. And talking about the red player, differently than most of us of putting troops to 1 big army, he was splitting his troops a lot, and when going for North America crushing some more of other players' troops, like if we remember that unfortunate 8 versus 5 blitz roll. So thank God everything still ended up well for him, even with attacking some more troops when not being guaranteed that other players will actually let him hold North America. It's a big continent after all, and it can really depend on how strong your alliances are with other players. But when you're weak, then even your good allies can decide to destroy you if they see they could easily do so. So yeah guys, after all it seems all of us surviving. Let's trade in a set. It was a risk for me not to trade in a set last turn, but thankfully nobody showed the initiative to take me out, so I ended up receiving 4 extra troops. So now I decided to capture Europe with a potential hope to hold it. I sent alliance request for the red player so I wouldn't have to guard the Icelandic border against him, and additionally it can be good for big continent players to team up with each other so they would be able to get more troops than anybody else at the same time dominating the game. So after him accepting alliance, my biggest worries were the cyan and dark blue players. The cyan player was the only player I wasn't allied with, and when it comes to dark blue I noticed that even though he usually sends the alliance request in the beginning of the game, whether he will actually want to stay with me as allies depends on my captured continent. So if it's a small continent then he will try to be friendly and we are probably going to team up on someone, but if it's a bigger continent, then he is going to betray me attacking to my big continent. It was not the first time of him betraying me so, by attacking me into Europe when sending the alliance request in the beginning of the game, so I knew I had to guard against him well. So it was just too bad that the pink player's borders were unguarded, so the dark blue player got to invade me through him. And talking about 2 other players, the light blue player seemed to be a good ally since he moved his troops out from Europe, and additionally didn't capture my territory in North America when it was a big risk for me to get eliminated. And finally pink, who was my ally as well, I assumed he would have probably known that if he invades me into Europe, when with him not guarding borders I would have invaded him into Africa leaving all of my troops into it. And yeah, I was just blindly trusting the red player. I had no idea whether he would invade me or not. But I didn't want to split my troops to multiple smaller armies when not being strong at all. It would have just made easier for the players to potentially destroy me. The light blue player suggested me to help out attacking the red player, but I would have really been decision point whether I want to attack red, or want to hold Europe. And with the dark blue player already attacking me into Europe, it wouldn't have been beneficial for me to attack red as well, ending up having 2 enemies at once who would like to destroy me. So with the pink player suggesting to attack dark blue and actually crushing some of his troops into him, I decided that I will be attacking the dark blue player as well. And I mean, if all other players are either friendly or neutral towards me, then obviously I will want to attack the player who shows the initiative to attack me. I mean, 6-player fixed cards game situation can really be about the diplomacy. The dark blue player is getting eliminated first, but actually it could have been any of us. Like, I cannot believe I was fortunate to hold Europe. The bad thing for dark blue is that he made a lot of enemies. First of all, there was conflict with cyan for Australia, so I guess if cyan had gotten an opportunity to attack him later on, then he would have helped us as well. But obviously in this case cyan was just too weak to do something, so he made the right choice to stay neutral. But probably the worst mistake when looking from the diplomacy perspective was for dark blue to invade me and pink at once. He made 2 enemies at once who would like to get rid of him. Additionally, the pink player was the strongest player, so he made the strongest player to be his enemy. And finally, with the light blue player being my and pink player's ally, he would help us out to destroy our enemies as well. So at the end at least 3 players wanted to eliminate him, with the red player being neutral towards him, and with the cyan player changing his mind to leave him alone as well instead of continuing no Australia, no win meme. As I think the cyan player probably just pretended to blitz dark blue for Australia just for the memes. I don't think he would have actually crushed his whole army into the dark blue player just to end up destroying both of them. The cyan player has just sent me an alliance request to me, but at this point the alliance with him for me is not really needed. I mean, I don't think he would be better ally for me than light blue or pink when him not having any continent at all. So at this moment that I'm planning, is to be in the top 3 situation with the light blue and pink players. The light blue player is already attacking red, so it makes the most sense to help him out. As to have a conflict with him or pink would probably be not wise for me at all, and to attack cyan while others would be focused on red, wouldn't probably the best decision either, with him potentially deciding to invade me into Europe. And if I just stayed neutral in Europe to gain troops and just attack one territory per turn, then I would just be the turtling player, so then the players would have to attack me, so I wouldn't end up quite stronger than them, having a huge advantage. So it's better to help out my allies to attack someone, in this case red, rather than to potentially make them to attack me if I just did nothing. And after the red player is gone, the next goal is to start targeting cyan, so it wouldn't make much sense to accept his alliance request just to end up attacking him a couple of turns later. It would probably make him mad, or at least the next time we would be having an alliance, he wouldn't take it very seriously. Anyways, you probably notice what when sending an attack request for light blue to attack red, I sent him an attack request to attack pink as well, and this is because I wanted that the light blue player would have taken Africa from him, so we would both be getting 5 continental troops while only having 2 borders to defend each. So after getting rid of the 4th player, it would have been easy to team up on the pink Australian player who would be only getting 2 continental troops. As in case the 3-player situation would end up of light blue having only South America, and pink Australia, then it would make the most sense for them to team up on me. So for that not to happen, I want for the light blue player to be and feel equally worth ally with me, without any of us having quite bigger advantage towards each other, at least when it comes to the continental troop bonuses. I noticed that the light blue player is kinda being bullied by cyan, and additionally the light blue player sent me an attack request to attack cyan as well. So I decided to help him out by bringing my army to Iceland, so the cyan player couldn't capture North America and at the same time threaten light blue. But now the cyan player is threatening me, so I'm wondering what the pink player is going to do. Will he follow the trend and bring some of the troops to North America as well? Well, he just decided to stay neutral and captured some territories of all 3 of us. So in that case I think it would be better not to try messing up with cyan and just simply try to eliminate pink with 3 of us getting 5 troop areas. So let's decline the old cyan's alliance request and send him a new one to find out whether he would still want to be allies right now. And awesome, he accepted the alliance request. So I told him to attack the pink player and then moved out my troops from North America so he could capture it. Hopefully the cyan player is serious with the alliance though and won't invade me. Phew, I mean, even if a player accepts your alliance request, you can never know whether he will actually follow being a good ally or stopping the conflict. As a player can just want to get rid of a temporary disadvantage against you and then to strike back after you moving your troops away from him or not adding more of them next to him. Anyways, let's see if the pink player attacks cyan. Well, he just captured some territories instead of crushing some troops, so in that case I will still rather prefer to have cyan as my ally rather than pink. So maybe unless the light blue player invades cyan, then in that case I'm not sure what would be the best to do. But as we can see that the light blue player fortified his biggest army in the Middle East, showing he probably made the alliance with the cyan player and wanting to team up on pink as well. So I think last turn it was probably the last or one of the last chances for the pink player to get out of this losing situation. In that turn, assuming he wouldn't make himself way too weak, he could have probably either crushed the cyan's 34 troops army or highly weakening it, so I would have taken the cyan player out, so even though in being disadvantaged he would have still guaranteed himself to be in the top 3 situation. Or assuming he would have thought that the players would be willing to team up on me, then he could have crushed my Ukrainian army, which was made of 24 troops back then. But now I'm not sure anymore how the pink player could get out of this situation by himself alone. The last chance for him to survive is probably if my, cyan's and light blue's strong alliance becomes broken, if any of us decide to invade someone of us before eliminating or highly weakening the pink player. So I'm not sure how about others, but I would like to stick in the alliance at least to the point when the pink player becomes very weak. I didn't guard against the light blue player before, and to show the cyan player that I trust him as well, I left the same number of troops on the border next to him as him. Of course, to be more safe of the Cyan player potentially invading me, I could have kept the whole 21 troops army on the Icelandic border. But that the Cyan player would be more willing to team up on the pink player, I decided to show him that I trust him. The pink player has just crushed some troops of the Cyan player, but at this moment it was way too late for him to change something. Of course the Cyan player gets disadvantaged comparing to me and light blue, but when it comes to the pink player he is getting taken out anyways, so at the end he just sped up the process of his elimination. Unless all of us for some reasons would like to keep him alive. We already got rid of the Australian player in this game once, and we are going to do the same for one more time again. Actually, one of the players got rid of the old Australian turtle to become the new Australian turtle just to get the same destiny again. And after the new turtle player is eliminated, I think I'm staying in Europe rather than moving out to Australia, as I see a very clear tendency what happens to the Australian turtle player. And another reason is to continue teaming up with light blue on Cyan, then I will still be getting the same number of troops as him. Me and light blue are equally strong, so I would say it would make the most sense for me to team up with him, but not only of it but because we also can perfectly protect our borders from Cyan. While if I wanted to attack light blue, then I would need to forget about holding Europe. And of course firstly I would need to weaken the blue player a lot to expect something to be done from the Cyan player, but even then the Cyan player could decide to team up with light blue but not me, or we could all just end up without a proper alliance and just attacking whoever who at that moment is the strongest. So taking all of these possibilities into the account, I decided that it would be the best to try sticking in the alliance with light blue. So in case light blue doesn't decide to betray me now, then not sure what it would be the best for the Cyan player to do. It's a tough position, and even if he moved out to Australia, then probably it wouldn't change much. But of course neither me nor light blue are looking forward to give away the game for another player just to get the second place. So we will be looking for opportunities to outsmart each other. We are not going to attack the Cyan player blindly just to accidentally make the other player win. Alright, it seems the Cyan player is weakening me, so I would be forced to betray light blue. But wait, he is now crushing the rest of his troops into the light blue player as well. So I don't know, but it seems he decided to suicide, probably thinking that it's impossible for him to win anymore. But I mean, you can never know, even though you're in a very tough position, you could always potentially make a comeback. 3-player fixed card endgame is probably what's the most interesting for me. As then diplomacy starts meaning quite less and it becomes more about the balance of the game, so even if you're allied with someone, you just cannot blindly attack another player to not give away your ally the win. Anyways, it seems it made the light blue player win. He is not only have more troops than me, but he is also getting the attacker's advantage by crushing my armies first. So I think it might be a GG. Well, to be honest, I was surprised that the light blue player didn't try to crush my army, so that actually gives me some hopes. So the first thing I did was to crush light blue's army by myself to get the attacker's advantage. I only won 4 troops from that, but oh well, 4 troops is better than nothing. And then I decided to capture as many territories as possible to increase the territorial troop bonus of mine, and decrease the territorial troop bonus of him. But capturing the territories in the way that it would capture as many continents as possible, so that the light blue player would potentially fail to invade at least one of them if I'm lucky enough. And sure I am. The light blue player failed to invade South America. So now I'm doing the same, taking as many territories as possible, in the way that it would capture some continents. The light blue player said it's a GG, but it's too soon to say as he might have a good set at 4 cards. So I'm not celebrating too early. But luckily enough he doesn't, so I think I've just won the game. I have a crappy 6 troop set, but I will trade it anyways just to guarantee that there's no single way the light blue player makes a comeback from this. As you saw, I didn't have enough troops to fully take him out, but even with him trading in a set, he won't be able to do anything. If you guys enjoyed watching this video, then I would recommend checking some of these out as well. Watching more videos will help you to progress so much faster. Highly increase your skills by simply watching Risk videos.